What do you think is the most versatile farm animal in the world? This particular animal provides milk, meat, and fiber. They can be used as carrying packs, and you can even use their dung for fertilizer or fuel.
Today we're going to talk about goats. My name is Salvador Carriaga, and this is The Green Project. This is Salvador Carriaga. This is The Green Project. Still grow your own food. Yum, 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 yum. The beauty about living in a forest by yourself. Goats are farmers' best friend. They can give you milk, manure, money, and meat. We call them 4 M's. The manure is fertilizer for the gardens. The milk is rich in calcium and protein. These two things can wipe out hunger and malnutrition. The business of just giving food to the poor doesn't work, because when the food is gone, they're back to square one. When goats give money, they give it through the babies, like this. And lastly, when they're no longer productive, they give you meat. The goat meat is very healthy, lesser in cholesterol, and they are meaty. And every part of the goat has its uses. Ilocanos like to use pinapaitan through the belly of the goat. And of course, you've got caldereta and many other things. Goats give milk. The goat milk is the closest to human mother's milk. People who are lactose intolerant cannot drink cow's milk. And guess what? Most Filipinos are allergic to cow's milk. That's why in the Philippines, we don't sell hardly any fresh cow's milk. What we do is we import them, and then they're processed into powdered, condensed, evaporated, or some kind of things. They add chemicals, preservative, melanin, and what you have is a very low quality milk. Through raising goats, you can have your own milk right by your doorstep. Pump, 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 and you have your own coffee milk. And add some more, you can add them for all kinds of needs. Children need goat's milk because of the calcium and protein. Older people also need goat's milk because for their bones. Goat milk, according to many, is a sagot sa kahirapan.
Goat skins can be dried and tanned into leather and used in any number of products, including goat skin. Goat hides and hair still intact are traditionally used in Africa to make drum heads. Goat-skinned rugs can also be made. Goats can be used as packed animals. They can be trained to carry your gear on hikes and are specially suited to steep and rocky paths. They can easily carry 20 to 30% of their body weight and have a minimal environmental impact. Goats can also be taught to pull carts. Plenty of people all over the world use goat dung to fuel fires. Their manure also drives away termites, and goat urine can be used as a pesticide for your non-edible ornamental plants. Just use urine and dilute them with water, pepper, or liquid soap. Goat raising has many benefits. They're easy to raise, simple to care, and cheap to feed. Because of this, the goat is considered the poor man's cow. In comparison to cattle, goats require only a little area. Goats replicate quickly and have the ability to feed on a wide range of forages.
An important part of raising goats is knowing about their breeds. Some goats are bred for their meat. Other goats are bred for their milk. This particular goat is a hybrid Nubian goat. It's got a little bit of flesh to it, but not much. But it can give you high quality goats. A pure breed Nubian goats will have longer ear and then Roman nose and a little bit bigger. This one is a hybrid of Boer goats. Usually you can tell them by the skin, which is white, and by their long ears. Boer goats are bred for their meat. They can go up to 150 kilos. That's like a little carabao. At 150 kilos, those goats can cost as much as 30,000 pesos, which is more expensive than cows and carabaos. Raising goats can give you milk, manure, money, and meat. Goat housing is a very important part in raising goats. Because of our lack of acreage or hectares, it's best for us to do cut and carry system. In other words, we bring the food to the goats, not turn the goats loose. If you turn your goats loose, they'll end up in your neighbor, and it'll end up in your neighbor's house, and it ends up in your neighbor's kitchen, and it'll end up in your neighbor's crackpot. By doing cut and carry, you will eliminate major complications and problems in raising goats. So build yourself a goat house like this, elevated above the ground, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet high, so that their manure and their urine will not get to their nostrils. Goats have sensitive respiratory system, and so they don't like to smell their own waste. By doing this, they'll get air circulation and can be healthier and happier. I'm going to teach you about goat raising that you cannot find in the books. This is my personal secret, how to raise goats and how to raise worms at the same time. Have it elevated like this, surround it with a net so that the chicken cannot get in, and put some worms underneath it. The worms will eat the goat manure. The goat will keep watering the worms. You don't have to do anything. In about a year or 2 years the most, this place will be covered with worms. You will have vermicast, you'll have vermicompost, and you will have tons of worms.
Here's a fun fact for you. In the Bible, in Leviticus chapter 14, on the Day of Atonement, the Israelites are asked to come before God and bring 2 goats. One goat is brought by the altar, where the blood is sprinkled all over the altar as an atonement for their sins. The other goat is brought by the edge of the desert, where they lay their hands upon the head of the goat. They ask God to transfer their sins upon the goat. The goat then becomes the sin bearer, and they release the goat in the desert, and hence you have the terminology called scapegoat. And now you know the rest of the story.
Goat healthcare is also very important, and you maintain goat healthcare by their housing as well as what you feed them. They like to eat legumes rich in calcium and protein, but also you need to make some mixtures for their feed. You can add some coconut to them, you can add some cornmeal, fish meal, you can add some rice meal, and all the nutritious food that they can around your surrounding area. You don't have to go to the store to buy feeds. You can create your own food for your goats. One of the important things about raising goats is their forage. Even before you buy goats to raise or build house for them, you need to plant forage, preferably forage that are rich in calcium and protein, such as Flamingia, Indigofera, Madre Cacao, Madre de Agua, or these mulberry plants. Mulberry plants are loved by the goats. They're also good for the goats. This is a mulberry plant. It's rich in calcium and protein. Goats love these plants. This particular variety came from China via Malaysia. The Chinese use this to feed their worms, and they make silkworms. In the Philippines, we're using them to make teas for our drink. Also, they bear delicious and nutritious berries and fruits that you can turn into juice or even fruit vinegar. Mulberries, good for the goats, good for the people. This is a plant called moringa, locally known as malunggay. It's a superfood. It can increase milk production by 30%, both human and animal. Some people call this the miracle food. You cannot do away without it. And raise it for yourself and for your livestock. This is madre cacao. It's rich in nutrition. It's a legume, like other things I've shown to you today. Madre cacao is easy to grow. Just cut the twig, stick it on the ground, and voila, it will give you. Once it's full grown, it can even provide you lumber or materials for your orchids and other things. Surround it around your goat house or goat farm. You can have ready-made fence in 2 or 3 years. Madre cacao, food for the goats. Growing duckweeds allow us to make our own feeds. They're great for our livestock. Chicken like them, the ducks like them, the pigs like them, the goats like them. All of our animals love them. And they're rich with vitamins and minerals.
Before we continue to goat raising, here's an additional fun fact that you might find interesting and helpful.
I want to share with you a concept about farming that doesn't really require a lot of land. For 300 square meters, you can have pig farm, chicken farm, goat farm, fish farm, beef farm, and all the vegetables that you can grow. In this particular farm, maybe a little bit bigger, but even if it's more congested and a lot more tower gardens, you can have all the food that you need. There's no limit to what you can do to provide yourself so you can be self-sustaining and enjoy food security in the context of fighting poverty and breaking the cycle of dependency.
I hope that was helpful for you. Now let's continue talking about different types of food for goats.
These are paragas. They're easy to grow, and they grow like grass. Goats love them. All livestock love them. These are madre de agua. It has one of the highest sources of protein among plants. It originally came from South America. Now, they're growing abundantly all over the Philippines. They're easy to grow, and they multiply like grass. These are napier grass. It's very common in the Philippines. These are the giant kind. Not as much protein as other of plants that I've introduced to you, but they grow abundantly. They provide the bulk that the goats need. 70% of what the goat needs are forage or grass. Napier can provide them what they need.
Instead of buying expensive protein-rich supplements or crumbles, you can make your own mix of corn or rice meal, copra meal, fish meal, barley, or even vermi meal. These are tasty to the goats and add vitamins and minerals to their diet. When it comes to goats' hygiene, they hate rain. They don't want their coats to get wet. That's why they need an elevated shed as their home to keep them elevated from the ground. Here's a tip on keeping their hooves from rotting. Instead of cutting off their hooves, put big rocks around your goat pen. They will climb on those rocks and they will smooth their hooves on the rocks on their own. Now that we know what goats can give us and how to take care of them, it's time to learn how to milk a goat.
Our next activity is milking goats. Goat milk is one of the best milk in the world. It's the closest to human mother's milk. When kids are allergic to cow's milk, doctors will suggest to drink goat's milk. Out of goat's milk, you can make soap, shampoo, lotion, lip balm, all kinds of beauty products. Cleopatra is known to have taken baths in goat's milk. You can make cheese, ice cream, yogurt, butter, all kinds of food products. Right now, we're going to milk goats.
Ani mo sa taas, padung ubos. There you go. Get ka? So imo i-push mo kamot sa iyang kwan, tutoy sa taas. And then ipug ani mo sa taas. And then middle finger, and then okay? Just do that. And then sunod na pod nga kwan, sinabay gatas. Oops.
Okay? All right. There's a story in the Bible about a young man who left his family because of trouble. He went to a faraway place where his ancestors came from, and he worked for a herdsman where he took care of sheep and goats. After 14 years, his master became so wealthy because of him that he asked his master to give him a share. His master cunningly gave him the rejects of his land, and he took his share, drove it 3 days' journey to separate his master's herd and his own herd. After 7 years, his herd became so big that his master started to become jealous of him, and his friends started cheating him. So he took his herd and went back home. As a peace offering to his brother, he gave his brother 200 female goats, 200 female sheep, and male and livestock and cattle. He still had enough wealth that he built the most powerful nation the world has ever known during his time. The character we're talking about is Jacob. His brother is Esau. The nation he built was the nation of Israel.
Goats are perfect livestock. Whatever the breed, goat herders agree the goats are sociable and easy to train and handle, even by children. In conclusion, goat raising is cheaper in terms of initial capital if you think economically and resourcefully. If you manage your goats wisely, you will be able to experience the bountiful benefits that they provide. They are truly the greatest of all time.
I hope you learned something about goat raising today. This is Salvador Carriaga of the Green Project. See you again next time.
I am Sal Carriaga, the host of BTV's The Green Project. If you are inspired by our show but you want to ask a question, or if you want to suggest something that you want me to teach on the program, you can post them on the comment section of this video on our Facebook page. You can also text me and find me on Facebook, and I'll try my best to answer your question or direct you to links and future seminars here in Butuan. Your question might also be answered on the program. Let's fight poverty and help break the cycle of dependency. Let's bloom where we're born and grow where we're planted. Let's build our country and community from ground up.